Some small business owners don't know what to do with the money that they're already receiving. Sounds hard to believe, but the Paycheck Protection Program is giving out billions of dollars in loans. However, the loans are forgiven only if 75% of the funds are used to keep paying employees within 8 weeks. Some owners are wondering what would happen if they held on to the money or spent it on something else. Emily Flitter is reporting on this story. She covers banking and Wall Street for the New York Times. Emily, thank you for joining us. I know you spoke to several small business owners. What do they want to use these funds for? And why don't they want to spend it on payroll to keep these employees?
So small business owners are in a bind. They received this money under the expectation that they would use 75% of it to pay employees. And the government did that because they thought that these loans would help businesses avoid having to engage in massive layoffs. But the program got started too late for that to happen. And then the employees who did get laid off immediately applied for unemployment benefits and found that those benefits were actually incredibly helpful. And some of them don't want to come back. Some of them are actually looking to earn less if they were rehired than they are getting from unemployment. So that leaves these businesses in a bind where they have to hire a certain number of employees back if they want the loans to be forgiven, but their employees don't want to come back.
So when you talk to legal experts, how are they interpreting the guidelines of the loans? And is the government enacting even harsher restrictions at this point?
Actually, the government has just started to sort of respond to some of these issues. Today, the Treasury released guidance that says that basically they're going to take borrowers' word for it that they really needed this money as long as the loans that they received were under $2 million. So that's sort of the first step in helping ease borrowers' concerns about how closely they're going to be audited, for having borrowed these loans. That's the first step. The second step would be if the Treasury were to relax the rule that says that these businesses have to spend 75% of the loan money on paychecks and 25% on rent and utilities. Many businesses say that they just can't make that work.
You've also reported, Emily, that some of these businesses who have partnered, who have participated in the program, may actually have debt that they've just got to pay back. What are you hearing from banks at this point on loan forgiveness?
So the loan forgiveness under the program is tricky. The banks don't know exactly what they're going to have to submit to the Small Business Administration to actually get the Small Business Administration to say, okay, this borrower doesn't have to pay this loan back. Everybody's still sort of waiting for details on that. But in the meantime, small businesses all over the country are spending a lot of money trying to retool their operations to fit this new world. They need to change up their spaces. They need to add more protections for customers to keep everybody who comes in 6 feet away from each other. And so there's plenty of things that a small business could use the money for. But right now, they're worried that if they use it for anything other than the 75-25 split that the Treasury has enumerated, that they're going to get into trouble.
And how do you think that all these stumbles by banks and businesses at this point have impacted Congress's plan to approach this next round of funding?
So there are ideas floating around Congress, proposals that would take the responsibility for distributing aid out of the hands of banks. And it has been problematic for a number of reasons. The fact that these payments to small businesses are structured as loans adds this extra layer of uncertainty and paperwork that actually doesn't need to be there. If Congress really wanted businesses to keep paying their employees, they could have designed a program that just put government money through the IRS and through payroll processors like ADP into employees' bank accounts as if they were getting regular paychecks. So right now, There are several members of Congress, most of whom are Democrats, who want to see a shift to that plan. There's also an idea to have the Federal Reserve create accounts for every individual American, just the way we all have Social Security numbers. And that would let the government disperse aid money without having an intermediary at all.
All right, Emily Flitter, thank you very much for joining us to talk about the impacts this is really having on small businesses across America. Emily Flitter with the New York Times. Thank you very much, Emily.
Thank you.